Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of This Woman Can. And as you know, we have been embarking on the journey of entrepreneurship and women in entrepreneurship. And we continue that conversation this week with Desi-Ann Gordon, aka the VA Mom. Now, she hails from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and she's the founder of the Caribbean Virtual Assistants, a virtual support business in the Caribbean. Desi-Ann and her team support small business owners with administrative services, content writing, general transcription, and course creation. Desi-Ann is also a virtual assistant coach, providing support to aspiring and experienced virtual assistants throughout the region. She guides her coaching clients through the VA journey using her dream to reality roadmap. Her passion, and I love a woman with a passion, is to help Caribbean women build their confidence and realize their business dreams. So you can see why she's really apt for this week. Through her coaching and training, Desi-Ann helps her clients to realize their business, develop a growth mindset, unleash their niche, offer client solutions to their problems, and much, much more. How she started in 2008, she found she was going to have her first child. Desi-Ann got the mommy urges. She wants to be home to experience every moment of her daughter's life, which a lot of us have experienced. And she was determined to start a home-based business so she could enjoy more freedom, flexibility, and family time. But she didn't start that dream put on hold until 2017 when her dream became a reality. So Desi-Ann, welcome to This Woman Can.
Thank you, Janice. It's a pleasure to be here.
And it's a pleasure to have you. As I said, we are, especially now, I've been on this entrepreneurship. I've just flicked into entrepreneurship the past couple of years myself. But with the pandemic, I've been very cognizant that a lot of women are maybe looking at entrepreneurship as a way to extend their career, because we do know statistically that at least 4 times as many women will be losing their job as a result of the pandemic. So Desi-Ann, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Okay, so as you just read from my bio, I started in 2008 with this brilliant idea that it is time to be home. You know, like the typical mom, you're saying no, you don't want anybody babysitting your child. You
Yes.
want to do everything for your children. You want to see those first steps, every first moment.
Yeah.
And so I remember approaching my husband and I said, listen, I need to do this. It's time to be home. And of course, the thought was there, but it didn't become a reality, as you just read, until 2017. What caused that? Well, I was trying all sorts of jobs. I did car rentals, I did lessons, I did all sorts of things with the hope of
Yeah.
starting my home based business. And I was working at a tertiary institution, enjoying it. I loved every minute of it. I transitioned. I went to work outside of the Caribbean, within the Caribbean actually,
Yeah.
but outside of Trinidad. And came back to Trinidad, picked up a short stint, and at the end of 2016, I was without a job.
Oh, wow.
So here I am at the beginning of 2017 trying to figure out what's next. And of course, the idea came back to me, start your business,
Mm-hmm.
right? I ended up in the Holy Land, Israel,
Oh,
for a
right.
couple
Okay.
months. Yes, I was there with my husband. He was finishing up his studies, so I went with him. And during that time, I'm saying to myself, okay, I can't just be home here in this place. I don't know anybody. I don't know the language. Let me start thinking of what I can do online.
Right.
And I started exploring, doing those typical searches, work from home, freelancing. I started typing all these searches and stumbled upon some job marketplaces where you can work from home. And
Right.
that's how it started. Now I have a math brain and I am saying to myself, most of these jobs are requiring me to write. I never saw myself as a writer. But interestingly, my first job was writing. I was doing product descriptions
Right.
and that went for a while. It was going very well. And I said, okay, Desi-Ann, look like you're on to something. So from there, it started to develop. And I started doing articles. There was a Caribbean gentleman I met, and he wanted blog posts.
Right. Right.
focus on the Caribbean. And
Yeah.
so I started writing about my experience as a work from home individual, and that sparked a lot of interest among persons who I speak with here in Trinidad. And that was like the beginning.
Right. Right.
When persons started asking me, how are you doing this? I want to work from home too. And I just realized, okay, Desi-Ann, get your business registered, get started, just keep going. So that's where the whole idea of Caribbean virtual assistants came about. And only recently I started with the coaching side of it because a
Okay.
lot of persons have been approaching me on how to do this. Million
Mm.
questions, and I understood that not everybody understands what it is to be a virtual assistant, what it is like to work from home. And because of my experiences, some of the pitfalls,
Mm.
going
Mm.
through all of
Mm.
these experiences, I just said, okay, Desi-Ann, start sharing, and that's where I am today.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
So, for those people who don't know, a VA, virtual assistant, what do you do?
All right. So I'm happy you asked that question because that is still up there. Like, what is
Yeah.
this thing about? So, virtual assistant, basically, it's someone who is self-employed, who works remotely, and you can offer a wide range of services. But they fall within three main categories: administrative,
Mm.
creative, and technical.
Right.
So when you think of administrative, just think of what you may have been doing in your workplace that you can now transfer to an online space, right? So that could be email management, it could be sending out any sort of correspondence, drafting correspondence,
Mm.
phone calls, that sort of thing. The creative is where you start to get into graphics and
Right.
social media. That's a big thing now. Social
Yes.
media posts and people needing help with that. The technical is like helping persons build their websites
Yeah.
or doing any of that back end stuff,
Right.
automation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that is it in a nutshell. And those are services that I see more and more that
Mm.
businesses are needing because
Mm.
of COVID. Persons have had to transfer their business online. They've had to make that switch, and moving from a brick and mortar type business, it's difficult sometimes to figure out, okay, how do I actually go online? How can I make my business continue, but
Yeah.
in an online space?
Yeah.
And that's where the virtual assistant comes in.
Yeah, and I'm happy you said that because I have just taken on a VA,
Great.
little trepidation for me because a little bit of a control freak, like being in charge of everything. I know everything is and how I like things to be. So for me, it's about building that relationship. However, it's early days, but where
Yes.
my focus, what I realized was is that if I'm honest, my time is quite expensive. Who me personally, and there were things that I can, and we don't do it very well, but we could outsource things that take up your time.
Of
So I look
course.
at opportunity, more of opportunity cost. So if I had that 1 hour to spend with one of my clients, how much would I earn compared to how much I'd pay a VA to do that work? So that's how I've had to weigh
Exactly.
up and stuff like that. So you explained, Desi-Ann, that there's been a you're seeing a growth in the VA field.
Mhm.
What makes a good VA, virtual assistant?
There are a number of factors. I think it starts here, first of all,
Right, right,
starts in the mind.
yeah,
And it's developing that sort of entrepreneur mindset, sorry. You know, I find that a lot of persons they get excited about wanting to start a business,
hmm,
but don't really understand what it is like. And
yes,
as a virtual assistant, you are self-employed,
yeah,
right? You're no longer with that employee mindset where somebody is going to be handing you tasks to do and giving you a deadline. You are the one in control of that.
yeah,
So it has to start in the mind and having that thinking that, okay, I am in control of my future,
right, right,
right? There must be a level of discipline because you're working from home. Think
yes,
about it. You
yes,
are in your home, especially
yeah,
if you are a parent and you have all these distractions. You're seeing the housework to do, a child might be calling you for something, so many distractions. So that level of discipline is required to be able to focus on those tasks that you need to get done, time blocking, however you choose to set up your day, but
yeah,
to really try to stick to it. I would also say that a virtual assistant, a good virtual assistant, is reliable and
right,
also flexible,
yeah,
right? There may be situations where a client may have to call on you to at the last minute to assist with something. No, we don't generally encourage that because you do set boundaries. But
Mm.
then sometimes these things happen,
Yeah.
especially if you have a long-term client, you want to be able to keep that relationship going. So these are some of those things that I would say are very critical to your success as a virtual assistant. And there are so many others, right?
I'm sure.
And another point I would say is that having the right skill set for what you're
Mm.
doing and be honest about it.
Yeah.
If you know you don't know how to build a WordPress website, don't go and tell a client I can build a website,
Yeah.
right? Maybe you are good at cold calling or
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
So that honesty is important. It will
Yeah.
go a long way.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's about knowing your strengths and weaknesses
of course.
and being honest with yourself about what they are.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that is one of those things that I do in the coaching sessions.
Right.
That whole area of unleashing your niche is about looking at all of those things that you are good at,
Yeah.
things that you enjoy doing,
Yeah.
and then asking persons, just ask past colleagues, maybe family members, what do they see as your strengths? Because
Yeah.
sometimes, we miss it.
Yes.
They
Yes.
see something in us that we didn't see,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that is very critical.
Excellent. Excellent. So Desi-Ann, throughout your career, what would you say has been one of your biggest challenges, and how did you overcome it, and what lesson did you learn that contributes to your success?
I would sum it up to actually three words: fear, anxiety, and doubt,
Okay.
right? I like to call them fads.
Yeah.
So my expression that I tend to use and I tell myself is ditch the fads,
Right.
fear, anxiety, and doubt.
Yeah.
When you are now starting off in a business, you are going into an unknown most times, especially if you're not from a family that has entrepreneurs and
Yeah.
business like persons, and you just don't know what to expect. Especially too, if you're a mother and you're accustomed being that nurturer, you're not thinking that business mindset. It's all about the family. How am I going to balance my family
Mm.
with work? That was one of those challenges that I had.
Right.
So while I had that urge in 2008, when it actually became a reality, there were days when I said to myself, am I really doing the right thing here? Is this what I want?
Yeah.
Because the tagline for my business is freedom, flexibility, family,
Right.
right? And that is what it was all about: freedom, flexibility. I want to be able to have that time to spend with my family. And if I find that some days I'm going till 11 in the night, I have to, Desi-Ann, what's happening here?
Yeah.
You have a family. So that fear stepped in. Can I really do this thing? Will it work? Will I get clients? Will I really be able to bring in the income that I want so
Yes.
that when it's time to take a vacation with the family, I can go comfortably? You know, um, but one of the things that really works for me is prayer. I'm a
Right.
believer,
Okay.
right? And anytime I start to feel that fear stepping in, hey, Father, help me, help me here, right? And I would lay it out, tell him exactly what I'm afraid of, right? I also believe in affirmations,
Right.
saying those positive affirmations. Now, you don't see any stuff behind me, but
Yeah.
I say them. I
Oh, I
say them
have.
a lot.
You can see mine.
I see.
Mine behind me.
Yes, I do. I do. And I plan to put some up, but I believe in that. And
Right.
one of those scriptures that stick with me is that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yeah.
And if I could believe that, then I will achieve anything I put my mind to.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. So you talked about the challenges and had the success, but how has failure made a positive difference in your life? Because the fear you talk about is almost sometimes fear of failure. Like you said, will you be able to do what you think you do and earn the money you need to do? So all that is all around failure. So how has failure made a positive difference in your life?
I would start by saying that I don't use the word failure.
Okay. Fabulous. Fabulous.
So let me say this. Because of my education background, I look at teaching and learning.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to a seminar or you are in a classroom, there are key takeaways. Those key takeaways are those lessons that you have to learn. And it goes throughout your life. It's not only for a particular time, a particular subject. Yes, in business, there will be a lot of key takeaways, a
Yeah.
lot of lessons that you have to learn. And so sometimes you go through situations, they didn't go as you had planned or as you had hoped, but there is a lesson in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you don't get the lesson, it's going to come back. I
Right.
believe that,
Yeah.
right? It's going to come back until you get it, right? So, for instance, in my case, when I just started my business, I was all excited. I want to make money. I want to do this. I want to do that. Not keeping in mind that I have to focus on what my client needs,
Right.
right? So sometimes you are there all excited. I could do this, I could write, I could this, but that's not what your client is looking for. Your client might be looking for something totally different and you are missing the mark. And it happened to me already, right? I mean, there were also cases where I just took on clients just because I wanted to make that money.
Mm.
But I was missing the whole point of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I had to take a step back. What was the lesson?
Right.
While I am there suffering from burnout because I am trying to help all these persons,
Mm.
I had to take a step back and say, okay, Desi-Ann, who do you really want to work with?
Yes.
What do you really want to offer your clients?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And those were the lessons I had to learn.
Right.
So, as I said, I wouldn't see it as failure. I would have seen it as, yes, things did not go as planned,
Mm-hmm.
but there were things I learned from this, and therefore I can improve
Right.
next time around.
Yeah.
Or there may be some skill that I have to learn to be able to do better at what I was doing before.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. So, Desi-Ann, if you had to start over from scratch, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
I think the first thing would be a mindset training program.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Because as I said earlier, it starts in the mind, you
Yes.
know. If you believe it, you can achieve it.
Right.
But if you are having all those doubts and you're having all those fears and those what ifs,
Hmm.
those things can cripple you as you get started.
Yeah.
In fact, it could even cripple you before because some people don't get started. You procrastinate and you procrastinate. I would say I'm guilty of that,
Right.
right? I I have procrastinated. I have vacillated. Can I do this? Should I do this? I wanted this. But I think a mindset training session, coaching session would have helped.
Right.
It would have really set the foundation for
Yeah.
me to go forward and wouldn't have me in the middle of this journey saying, should I turn back?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, that I think that is so critical. It starts in the mind.
And I'm glad you said that because a lot of my work with the women I work with is all around mindset. Because you can have these big lofty plans and you can have the
Yes,
most sexy plan on paper, but if your head is telling you that you can't do it, or you've
exactly.
got a little inner mean girl I call her sitting on your shoulder whispering in your ear, or you feel like I don't belong here, who do I think I am, I feel like an imposter, then all those
Mhm.
plans are worthless. So like you said, I do a lot of work around mindset, a lot of things with women who are looking at entrepreneurship, and also women in
Yes.
business, existing business, because I want to get ahead. I want to,
Mhm.
advance my career, but I keep hearing these things or telling myself, and I procrastinate, or I don't put in that application, or I don't take that action. So I'm so
Yes.
glad you said mindset, because it's such a powerful thing.
Mhm.
Absolutely
I agree.
powerful thing.
I agree.
So Desi-Ann, when you do have confidence issues, and we talked about a little girl in the hair, or we just wave a little bit, how do you get out of that vicious cycle?
It comes back to that scripture, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yeah.
I have to look at myself in the mirror sometimes and just say positive things.
Mm.
Desian, you are beautiful. Desian, you can do this. Desian, you have a master's degree. Desian, you have accomplished a lot in your life.
Mhm.
You know, yes, things may not have always gone the way you wanted. Yes, I wanted to start a business in 2008 and it took me 9 years to get it going. But you know what? It started,
Exactly.
right? And that is why I started my program, Dream to Reality. Because a lot of times we have dreams and we let those dreams die because we lack the confidence.
Yeah.
Same thing we are talking here, we lack that confidence.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, I wouldn't say just the Caribbean, but growing up, you get those limiting beliefs because of society,
Yeah.
because of your parents.
Yeah.
I could remember, I could remember as a child coming home with test results. And if you get 99, why didn't you get 100? What happened to that one mark?
Yeah.
And you there in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, perfectionism starts to kick in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then it starts to slow you down because you're thinking to yourself, if I don't get this right the first time,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
what's the sense?
Yeah.
You know? And I do have a bit of perfectionism in me. My husband tells me that all the time. But I must
Absolutely.
say that I am grateful for where I've gotten to.
Yeah.
I was able to step out of my comfort zone and push
Mm,
myself. And it's because
mm,
of that
mm.
constant self talk,
Yeah.
just telling myself all these positive things.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the thing about perfectionism, I think, we need to understand is that we're always going to have a touch of it. Whatever trait
Mm-hmm.
we have, we're always going to have a touch of it. But the goal
Yes.
is the fact that you recognize it's there, you recognize when it
Yes.
appears, and you have the tools to
Mm-hmm.
actually knock it back into its box and say,
Exactly.
not today, thank you.
Not today. Don't
Not
let it
today.
cripple you. Yeah. Yeah. Don't
So
allow it to cripple you.
yeah, and that's
Mhm.
definitely the skill.
Yes.
So Desi-Ann, what advice would you share with women who want to embark on their own entrepreneurship journey?
So I will go back to that whole idea of it starting in your mind,
Yeah.
right? And if you really want to do something, you can do it. I think once we believe that, that's the starting point.
Right.
So, as I said before, dream to reality. You're taking it from this stage as a concept, it's just in
Yes.
here,
Yeah.
but you want to bring it out, right? Sometimes we just need to step out of our comfort zones and do it,
No.
right? Nike said it, Nike saying this for years now, just do it.
Absolutely.
Don't, yeah, don't worry about it being perfect. Just get started. And sometimes when we get started, we realize there are persons out there who need that information we have to share, or they need that service that we have to offer,
Mm.
right? Know your why. We hear this all the time, your why. It has become such a cliche now, right? But it is so crucial. Why do you want to do this? And if you focus on that why, you can achieve anything.
Yeah.
Just think of it, you are on a journey, right? And I like to call it the VA journey. In my case, you are going along a road, there are going to be things on the left side, the right side, behind you, in front of you that are going to they're obstacles, they're going to try to throw you off course. But you have to just stay on that journey because you're seeing down ahead
Yes. Yeah.
your why. It's just big there, my why. And I am going towards my why. So it's having that, like, yes, you may not feel confident at every single moment.
Mm.
You will feel fear. You will get anxious. You will feel some doubt. But just keep focus on what you want out of it. This is your why. You want to stay focused on your why. Just keep seeing it. And if you have to stick something up in your room, a vision board, whatever it might be, to keep reminding you of why you want to get into business. Yeah.
So Desi-Ann, you've shared with us a lot there, but I'm going to ask you
Yes.
a question.
Uh-huh.
What advice would you know what you know now and stuff like that? But what advice would you give to your teenage self?
Hmm. Interesting. So interestingly, I have a teenage daughter. She's
Okay.
actually going to be 13 in 2 weeks. Oh my God. Yeah, in two
Good
weeks.
luck with that.
Yes, yes. Oh yes. Um, the same thing I would give to my teenage self, I would say to her, focus on your dreams. Focus on what you want for you. God has placed you on this earth for a purpose, right? And if it means that you have to tap into Him daily to understand your purpose, do that. Because when you know your purpose, then you can walk on this earth and really be of some meaning, of some value to you, to others, right? A lot of persons are walking around here not sure what they want. They're
Yes.
still not sure.
Yeah.
And it is sad. I mean, I'm seeing it even with adults, they just don't know.
Mm.
But you have to take that time, take some moments of introspection
Mm.
and just start talking to yourself, asking yourself, what do I like? What do I see myself doing? Where do I see myself in the future?
Yeah.
God didn't just place us here to exist, right? He placed us here to live. And we have to live our best lives. And so we really need to tap into that source and
Right.
understand what is our purpose. And
Ex-
when you start there, start taking whatever steps necessary. If it means you have to go and do a course, if it
Mm.
means you have to listen to podcasts associated with what you want to do. And that's something I do all the time. I'm in the kitchen and
Yeah.
I have podcasts just
Yeah.
listening,
Well.
just soaking in. Yes. Yours is one of them,
Ah.
right? I am just soaking in information because I recognize I don't know it all. There's a lot for me to learn still. And as a teenager, you want to soak in as much as possible. You want to associate yourself with like minded persons,
Mm.
right? It is very easy to be distracted.
Mm.
There's a lot going on out here, social media, the television, friends. But if you know what you are about, you're going to stay on that course,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it is so important that young people, I mean, and we are seeing what's happening in society, right? It's difficult for young people growing up in this society now. It's just so many
Mm.
distractions, so
Mm.
many.
Mm.
But as I tell my daughter all the time, stay focused. And she's a businesswoman too, eh?
Right.
Although
Okay.
she's only 13, she has her own business. And I guess she's seen me as a role model, as a
Right.
mentor. And
Right.
it's always good for us to have somebody who can mentor us,
Yeah.
who understands the path that we want to go on and could guide us accordingly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me just flick back to the question a little bit because I think you kind of sidestepped it. So what would advice would you give to your teenage self, not your daughter?
But that is what I would give to my teenage self.
Okay, that's okay.
Understanding my purpose. Yes.
Fair enough.
Starting with understanding my purpose and taking the action steps to
Excellent.
go along with that purpose. Yes,
Excellent.
definitely.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Yeah, I just use it as an example.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So Desi, what three things have you learned about yourself during your career?
Hmm. What three things? Sometimes to trust your instincts.
Mm, that's a good one.
Sometimes we think we our first thought is to do X,
Mm,
and we started out, you know, and we stray from it. I have always had a desire to start a home business.
right.
I've always had an interest in education, right? That's my background. I've
Mm,
worked in higher education for years. I come from my parents have been teachers. I come from a family of teachers.
right.
And I've always said, you know what? Maybe I should get into training. But I kept pushing that in the back burner. No, 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 that's not it. That's not it. But it's coming back now.
Right.
I'm a 40-year assistant coach.
Okay.
Training, you know?
Yeah.
If I could say to my teenage self, trust your instincts, that's yet another
Right.
thing
Right.
sometimes,
Yes.
Um, another thing I would say about myself that I have learned, do not let fear cripple you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely do not let fear cripple you. Yes, you can feel fearful, you can
Yeah.
feel afraid, but step out.
Uh,
You might feel like, okay, you're an introvert. And based on classification, I would say that I am considered an introvert, right? And so things like public speaking and doing lives and all that is not me,
are you?
right? It's not me. But I have learned that sometimes when you start to speak, persons are just there soaking in because it's like, wait,
Yeah.
you have a lot to offer,
Yeah.
right? I have learned that I have a lot to offer,
Yeah.
right? And the third thing, what would be the third thing? I think I basically put two in one there, but the fear and the having a lot to offer. Because, sometimes we just don't realize just how confident we can be in situations.
Mm.
And you have to just know yourself. If
Yes.
you are more comfortable working with three persons,
Yeah.
work with three persons.
Right.
And that is something I've also learned. Being in large groups is not for me. I
Right.
work with
Right.
small, intimate groups. I do
Yeah.
one-on-one, small
Yeah.
group settings. Yes, and those are some of the things I've learned. And
Excellent.
I've learned to never give up,
Ah,
despite.
that's great.
Never give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Fabulous.
probably said more than three there, but
Oh,
yes.
you said three, but that's extra. We'll let you slip that one in. We'll let you slip that one in. So we're coming down to our last couple of questions, Desi-Ann.
Yes.
Where would we find you typically on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m.?
Hmm. Probably in the kitchen. Most likely in the kitchen. Yes.
Cooking.
Cooking.
Okay.
Cooking and listen to a podcast.
Excellent,
So I
excellent.
have a husband and I have two children.
Right.
So most likely I'm in the
And
kitchen.
one of the
Yes.
three is always hungry.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You know it.
I do, I do, I do, I do, I do. And so, what does success? My last official question. What does success feel like to you, Desi-Ann?
Oh my gosh. We have learned Maslow's hierarchy of
Yes,
needs.
yes.
And the top one is self actualization.
Hmm.
I feel I am there,
Right.
almost to the tippy top, but
Okay.
I'm in that part of the triangle,
Yes.
right? As I said, my tagline for the business is freedom, flexibility,
Family.
family.
Yeah.
And I am achieving that.
Excellent.
That is success right there. Some people's success is about how many millions you're making,
Hmm.
being a six-figure income business. And
Hmm.
for me, that's where the focus is.
Right.
I have the freedom to choose how I work, when I work,
Yeah.
with whom I work,
Right.
flexibly enough to be with my children, my husband, just to enjoy life.
Yes.
Because when we work a typical 9 to 5 job, sometimes we miss out on so many opportunities,
Mhm.
right? I try to cut off my day at 3 o'clock. And so I have the rest of the day to just do what I want. If I have to go outside and kick ball with my son, I'm outside kicking ball,
Yeah.
right? Or helping them with their schoolwork, or. So that is what success is for me, being able to just enjoy the finer things in life
Answer.
without those restrictions, and really enjoy my family.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
and do you think that's changed over the years? Because I know you talked about financial, but do you think that what success looks like, feels like to you, has changed over the years?
Definitely, definitely. When I just started the business, the focus really at that time, although I had the tagline, the focus was to make money. I wouldn't lie,
Right.
it was to make money.
And that was the
You know,
need.
we Yes, we women, we like to be independent. We want to be able to do this for ourselves. And so I was there.
Yeah.
And I remember there was one particular day I was driving and I was looking at the
Mm.
gas line.
Yeah.
It was close to E. And I'm saying to myself, Father God, I started this business. What is happening here? I'm not seeing the funds to even put gas in the car,
Yeah.
you know? But thank God I have moved from that because
Mm.
it was a mindset shifter.
Yeah.
I no longer focused on the money.
Right.
I started to really focus on the why.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it is so important.
Yeah.
I keep looking at that freedom, flexibility,
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that is where my focus is, everything else is going to fall into place.
A-
And I
a-
truly believe that.
And what that
Hmm.
tells me is about knowing your values, because those
Yes.
feel the values that you really um, find important for you. And
Yes.
again, I do a value talk about values with the women I work with, because once you actually find what you value and what is meaningful and what you want, it starts to make it a lot easier to actually go
Of
to the
course.
goal you want to do.
Of
So
course.
we find those
Yes.
values, and we often don't understand, or we overlook how valuable those values are.
Yes. Yes. That is so true. So, so true.
Mine definitely changed moving from the corporate world, where I had the accolades and stuff like that. I had the large titles, but as you said, that didn't become important to me. I wanted to enjoy the country I'd moved to. I'd lived here for a number of years, and what I'd meant
Right.
to do, I didn't get to do. And I could see my husband being really happy in the morning because he was living his dream, and I'm like, wow, this isn't what I want. This isn't me anymore. I need to make some decisions, some hard decisions. Fortunately, I wasn't forced to do it like some women probably are quite right now. But
Yes.
once you
Yes.
understand what those values are and what's meaningful to you, that will make a lot of difference in the road you take.
Of course.
So Desi-Ann, that was my last official question.
Yes.
But if people want to get to know, if we want to learn more about what you do or get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Okay, so I have a website.
Yeah.
It's Caribbean. Well, the full thing is www.caribbeanva, as in virtual assistant, living.com. So that's www.caribbeanvaliving.com. I am also on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Excellent.
Basically, the Caribbean virtual assistant is what you would look for. And I have a collaboration with two other Caribbean ladies. It's Caribbean Virtual Business Solutions. We are also on Facebook. Yes. So those are the main ways to find me.
Fantastic. And I'll be sure to put all those links in the show notes. So if people didn't catch it, they'll be able to get the links in the show notes. So Desi-Ann, thank you. That was my last question. Thank you so much for being my guest today on This Woman Can.
All right. Thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed this.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Desi-Ann Gordon as much as I did, and learning more about becoming a VA. And if you're at a stage in life where you need to reconsider your options, you need to look at what direction you're going through, maybe as a result of pandemic, or maybe you just think it's time for a change, I invite you to look at my Your Life by Design program. It's a practical 35-day program that will walk you through a proven step-by-step process that'll help you get clear on your goals, so you stop wasting time on thinking, what should I do next? Removing the blocks from your mindset and the challenges that you've been telling yourself, the beliefs and behavioral patterns that have been holding you back. We help you create a practical, easy to implement action plan blueprint that helps you identify where you want to go and how you need to get there, which becomes totally apparent and, more importantly, totally doable. And you can find a new sense of understanding, clarity, and motivation that will fire you up to succeed. Not only that, you're going to get expert guidance from me every step of the way, and you get to stay accountable. It helps you stay accountable and get results through regular feedback. So it's really easy to keep showing up and following your plan, and therefore seeing the results. So Your Life by Design is the program for you if you're at a stage where you need to make some decisions about what direction you need to go in your career right now. So head over to janicesutherland.com, click on the Work With Me tab and see what Your Life by Design. And I hope to speak to you and help you create your life by design. Until next time, remember, if I can, you can, this one can. Take care.